welcome to another game of 4-player Big Deck. This game will not feature card images, but check out the link in the video description for a complete list of cards contained within the Big Deck. Marlon wins the die roll and starts with Leyline of Sanctity on the field. He draws Slave of Bolas and plays it as land for the turn. Rob draws Bringer of the Green Dawn and plays Lexington Hierarch as a land. Kyle draws Treasury Thrall and plays Psychic Strike as a land. Ronnie draws Hoarding Dragon and plays Wargate as a land. Marlon draws Una, Queen of the Fae, and plays it as a land. Rob draws Thirst for Knowledge and plays Flame Blast Dragon as a land. Kyle draws Liliana Spectre and plays Treasury Thrall as a land. Ronnie draws Void Slime and plays Bull Ceridon as a land. Marlon draws Nature's Claim and plays it as a land. He then plays Crystal Ball and passes. Rob draws Enigma Sphinx and plays it as a land. He passes, but at the end of his turn, Kyle pays 2 life and casts Vampiric Tutor, searching a deck for Ancestral Recall and putting it on top of it. He then draws the Ancestral Recall for his turn. He plays Gruul Rage Beast as a land and passes. Ronnie draws Disciple of Bolas and plays it as his land. Marlon untaps and draws Thraxamundar. He then plays Oblivion Stone as his land and taps out to cast Thieving Magpie. Rob draws Arcane Denial and plays Martial Coup as a land. He passes, but at the end of his turn, Kyle targets himself with the Ancestral Recall, drawing Goblin Welder, Sunblast Angel, and Coalition Relic. He then draws Manic Vandal. He plays Razia as a land and then taps out to cast Coalition Relic. He passes the turn. Ronnie draws Notion Thief and then passes the turn. Marlon untaps and draws Gaddock Teague. He then plays Steward of Valoran as a land and attacks Rob for 1 with Thieving Magpie, drawing Unexpected Results off the Magpie. He then taps 4 and casts Unexpected Results, shuffling a library and revealing Azorius Charm, which he decides to play as a land and return the Unexpected Results to his hand. He passes the turn, but at the end of his turn, Rob casts Thirst for Knowledge, and in response, Ronnie casts Notion Thief, making Rob discard 2 cards from the Thirst for Knowledge and drawing Ronnie 3 cards. Rob untaps and draws Totem Guide Heartbeast. He then plays it as a land and casts Prophet of Crufix. He passes the turn and untaps his lands. Kyle draws Time Warp and plays Dead Gone as a land. He then casts Liliana Spectre, which Rob Arcane Denials, countering the Spectre. Kyle then casts Huntmaster, getting 2 life and giving him a wolf. He passes the turn. At the end of his turn, Rob and Kyle each draw cards from the Arcane Denial. Ronnie draws Stoneforge Mystic and plays Mox Pearl. He then casts Grand Arbiter and Stoneforge Mystic, searching a deck and putting Sword of Fire and Ice into his hand. He passes. Marlon draws Odds Ends and plays Galactique as a land. He then unmakes Ronnie's Grand Arbiter, exiling it. He then attacks Ronnie for 1 with Thieving Magpie, and drawing Seagate Oracle. He passes the turn, and at the end of his turn, Rob flashes in Walla Roots thanks to his Prophet. Rob then draws Darksteel Ingot and casts Sword of Light and Shadow and equips it to the Prophet of Crucifix. He then attacks Ronnie for 4 and gains 3 life off the sword and returns a Bringer of the Green Dawn to his hand. He passes the turn and untaps his permanents. Kyle untaps and draws Esper Charm. He then plays Goblin Welder as a land and casts Ghostly Prison. Ronnie draws No Mercy and plays it as a land. Ronnie casts Sword of Fire and Ice and equips it to his Stoneforge Mystic. He passes. At the end of his turn, Marlin scries 2 with Crystal Ball. Marlin then draws Liliana Vess. Marlin taps 4 and plays Unexpected Results again, shuffling another pile and revealing Nova Blastworm. He plays it as a land and returns the results to his hand. He then attacks Kyle for 1, having to pay 2 for his Ghostly Prison, and draws Timely Reinforcements. He passes the turn, and Rob flashes in Bring of the Green Dawn at the end of his turn, and then puts a beast into play during his upkeep. He then equips the Sword of Light and Shadow to the Bring of the Green Dawn, and attacks Ronnie for 7 with the Bringer. In response, Ronnie Ancient Grudges Rob's Sword of Light and Shadow. And in response, Rob dismembers Ronnie's Sword of Fire and Ice Stoneforge Mystic. Ronnie then takes 5 damage from the Bringer. Rob passes the turn, and Kyle draws Godsire during his turn. Kyle plays Manic Vandal as a land, and then plays Mirari's Wake. Kyle then casts Time Warp, targeting himself, and attacks Marlin for 6 with his 2 creatures. Kyle untaps and goes to his next turn. He draws Careful Consideration and casts it targeting himself, drawing Firemind's Foresight, Molder Slug, Cancel, and Factor Fiction. Kyle discards Godsire and Esper Charm. Kyle then casts Brilliant Ultimatum, revealing Sword of Vengeance, Figure of Destiny, Warstorm Surge, Windborne Muse, and Shroom the Hegemon. Ronnie splits up the piles, and Kyle decides to cast Sword of Vengeance, Warstorm Surge, and Windborne Muse. Kyle then casts Molder Slug to deal with Ronnie's Sword of Fire and Ice, and then deals 4 damage to Rob's Prophet of Crucifix off the Wormstorm Surge trigger. He then attacks Marlin again for 6 damage. Ronnie draws Sundering Growth and casts Sting Flinger Spider to destroy Kyle's Windborne Muse. He passes the turn. Marlin untaps, and during his upkeep, scries 2 with Crystal Ball before he sacrifices it to Kyle's Molder Slug. Marlin then draws Counter Squall. Not wanting to sacrifice another artifact, Marlin plays Staffanin as a land. He then wants to attack Kyle, but not wanting to pay 2 for Ghostly Prison, he passes the turn. Rob untaps and sacrifices Darksteel Ingot, and then draws Concentrate. Rob flashes back Unburial Rites, targeting Prophet of Crucifix. He then attacks Marlin for 8, but in response, Marlin casts Ends, targeting Rob, who sacrifices both of his attacking creatures. He passes the turn, but at the end of his turn, Ronnie casts Thundering Growth to shoot Kyle's Warstorm Surge. Kyle untaps and sacrifices Coalition Relic to his own Molder Slug, and then draws Azusa. Kyle casts Firemind's Foresight, searching a deck for Syncopate, Comet Storm, and Bant Charm, putting them into his hand. He then casts Azusa as a land and equips the Sword of Vengeance to Huntmaster of the Fells and attacks Rob with his Wolf, Huntmaster, and Molder Slug. Rob blocks Kyle's 3/3 Wolf with his 3/3 Beast and then takes 10 damage from the other two creatures. He passes the turn. Ronnie untaps, sacrifices Mox Pearl, and draws Mouthgore. Ronnie then casts Tidings, drawing Debtor's Knell, Zealous Conscripts, Fog, and Firespout, which he plays as a land. Marlin untaps and draws Frost Titan. He then casts the Frost Titan, tapping down Kyle's Huntmaster. Marlin then attacks Rob for 1 with his Seething Magpie, dealing Rob 1 damage and drawing Austere Command. Marlin then casts Seagate Oracle and passes the turn. Rob draws Fracturing Gust and passes the turn, but at the end of his turn, Kyle casts Fact or Fiction, and in response, Rob casts Fracturing Gust, which Kyle counters with Bant Charm. Kyle puts the 3-card pile into his hand. Kyle untaps and sacrifices Sword of Vengeance during his upkeep to Molder Slug. He then draws Mindspring. Kyle then plays Sunblast Angel as a land and then has more than enough mana to Comet Storm enough to kill all players with the exception of Marlin, who has Leyline of Sanctity in play. Marlin draws Phyrexian Rebirth and attacks Kyle for 6 with Frost Titan, tapping down Kyle's untapped creature. Marlin pays 2 for Ghostly Prison. Post-combat, Marlin casts Austere Command, blowing up all artifacts and enchantments, to get rid of Kyle's Wake and his Ghostly Prison. Kyle draws Elish Norn, plays Syncopate as a land, and then taps enough mana to Malice Marlin's Frost Titan, which Marlin countersqualls, losing Kyle 2 life. He passes the turn. Marlin draws a Bloodgift Demon, plays Liliana Vess, and uses its -2 ability to tutor a card and put it on top of a library. Marlin puts Time Walk on top of a library, and then attacks Kyle for 8, drawing Time Walk off of the Thieving Magpie. Marlin then casts Time Walk and has enough damage on board to deal lethal to Kyle next turn, winning Marlin another game of Big Deck.